Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony Chimmel, the GOAT of ring announcers. And you're listening to the Marks Podcast on YouTube.
It's Sunday. You know what that means. Another episode of the Marks Podcast. Oh, my bad. Better? Okay. So, we got a lot to talk about today. First and foremost, I do want to talk about something that happened. I want to say, was it yesterday, right? Happened last night. It's not something we would normally cover, but it is wrestling based. Wife, if you'll put that image up. At an event, UFC or MMA star, former UFC star, former Pride star, Rampage Jackson's son was in attendance. And I don't want to leave the photo up too long, but that is a photo of him. And this is a still image at the Knox X Pro. That's what it's called, Knox X Pro event. The man on the ground, his name is Syko Stu. That's his wrestling name. He bludgeoned him about 20 times. And me and Gerard just found out about this. It was meant to be a work. It was meant to be maybe to run an angle in their little promotion or whatever. And an altercation happened earlier where the Syko Stu guy, kind of hit him with a beer can, a gimmick beer can, and when there was a misunderstanding, and they shook hands and walked away. Everything was fine. The event happens. This incident comes up, and he just hits him blow, blow, blow. And I'm going to say it plainly. It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen inside of a ring, whether it be MMA or otherwise. And there's no business at all. Oh, yeah. On top of the promotion is owned by Rikishi, who we're going to talk about later, too. So you seeing that image and hearing about it, Gerard, being the old school guy you are, what do you think?
No place in the business for it. Everything in that ring, everything that goes on in that ring is supposed to be part of the show. When you go into business for yourself in the ring, I understand every now and then a guy deserves a potato. I get it. I understand it because he went into business for himself. So, okay, I'm going to get you back. How do you get back at that, though? The guy laying on the ground, okay?
Unconscious.
I'm hoping that when he comes to and stuff like that,
He did.
My first drive would have been to a police station to get him on assault. Because that was not part of any show.
No.
You are hitting, and you got it on video, you're hitting a defenseless person. And not only that, the amount of people it took to get that guy even under control, where you can hear the crowd screaming in fear because they didn't know what that guy was doing. There's no place in the world of professional wrestling. There's no place in the world of any sports for that. Get him out of there. He should never be part of any wrestling program. Anything he ever wanted to do in wrestling, he should be garbage, done with. Okay? And if not, gone in front of a judge. That's it.
So, we were talking about earlier, people throwing potatoes and getting their comeback and getting their receipt, if you will. I watched the Steve Austin podcast a number of times. I've watched the Broken Skull sessions, and he was talking about some stuff that he did with Ray Traylor, better known as the Big Boss Man. Mm-hmm. And Big Boss Man would always stiff him here, stiff him there. So finally, one day, Steve Austin hit him right across the forehead with a forearm. Oh, there's your receipt. Oh, so he never stiffed him again. And in a situation like that, when you're again, I'm not one of the boys, but I'm as the show is called, I'm a mark, and I'd like to be up to date with terminology. Sometimes you got to check somebody a little bit so they understand what's going on. Hey, quit stiffing me, or you're going to get one back. That was not someone stiffing somebody. That was someone taking. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll tell you a guy who's very big on stuff like that was William Regal.
Oh, yeah.
100%. William Regal was very big on the boys. Like, if you went into Regal was pissed if you went into business for yourself and you were careless in the ring. Listen, 99% of wrestlers understand accidents can and will happen. Okay?
Well, a perfect example of that would be someone like Biggie Langston. His neck was broken in the ring. Never held an ill will towards a Rich Holland. He said, "Look, man, I get it. It fucked up. It happened." Draws. Never held until his death. God rest his soul. Never held a negative fucking grudge towards D'Lo Brown. Tyson Kidd, who was the only person I know to this day who's ever been hurt by the move the Muscle Buster by Samoa Joe, never held an ill will. You know who's someone who did hold an ill will? Bret fucking Hart. We're going to talk about Bret Hart too. Bret Hart's career was shortened because of the actions of Bill Goldberg. And I know that we've been on this program and I've talked, I'm not a fan of Bill Goldberg because the one thing that Bret told him, Bill, just don't hurt me in the ring. He wrestled snug. He get it. Bret never hurt anybody. Ever.
He took that with pride. Dude, remember, a lot of those guys growing up in that era took, like, as big as Undertaker was, he took with pride. He never hurt anybody in the ring. Being able to dance with people in the ring and not hurting them is a prideful thing.
Here's my thing. Bill, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Bill Goldberg and his retirement and bitching how it didn't go how he wanted and blah, 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 cry me a fucking river. But again, how many chances were you going to give the guy? He almost broke the Taker's neck in Saudi Arabia. What he did to fucking Bret, he was so upset because he didn't get the career he wanted and what have you in WWE. I have no respect for a guy like that. But then you have something and you have somebody in this business who maybe politically you didn't like, but you're going to vilify like a Hogan. I don't like Hogan, but Hogan wasn't hurting people in the ring. Hogan wasn't doing all this X, Y, and Z shit. I get it. And I know we're going back to that, but we do need to talk about Hulk Hogan today because some more lights come up, and I'll let you start with that conversation.
Well, we can go to the autopsy report about how it looks like it was a medical.
Well, it hasn't been an autopsy yet, but apparently during one of his surgeries, he had a ligament that was cut through the front. What was it called? Frontal what? Gotta find it. But it apparently, from my understanding, I'm not a doctor, it regulates your breathing. She said his wife, what was her name?
Sky, is it? Sky?
Huh?
Was it Sky?
Well, Sky's the one who found him. And he wasn't breathing. It didn't seem like a cardiac arrest. I mean, maybe it was cardiac arrest, but he just wasn't breathing. The phrenic nerve. And you were asking me earlier in the week, how did it not happen sooner? Well, it's one of those things that regulates, so it just kind of happens when it happens. It's like a ticking time bomb.
Don't know when it's going to happen, just does.
Yeah. And to sit there and, again, I hate to play speculation, right? I hate to be that guy. I hate to be the guy who's playing conspiracy theory. Going back to someone like Michael Jackson, did this guy know what he was doing? You're a medical professional. You just cut through a guy's phrenic nerve.
Well, with the amount of surgery that man's had, do you ever, there was probably a time that he was going in for surgery where doctors warned him of the
risks
of that surgery. And to him, the reward outweighed the risk. Now, don't give me
the goal of having a happier, healthier, less painful life. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't know that can happen to you because when you come out of the anesthesia and stuff like that, the doctor says, "Oh, you're good to go." Hey, you're good. You feel like you're good to go. Okay. My thing was about that situation is the internet doctors. Everybody seemed like they were an internet doctor for Hulk Hogan. It's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Hey, well, you're new to this. There's internet doctors, there's internet lawyers, there's internet everything.
And I'm saying, like, until I hear it from the spouse, who, what I would say is, with this new revelation of what possibly causes death, I'm happy for her to where foul play on that side will be ruled out.
Yeah.
Foul play of all will be ruled out, and it could end up coming down to, hey, We were doing a surgery. We hit something we shouldn't have hit. Wrong. Hey, there's wrongful death money possibly coming to her.
Very, very true.
Now,
we don't know the whole story yet. Like, we don't know if that was the case. What, we just have a therapist who's been basically the whistleblower with the police department. It's on body camera apparently, and it just makes a story about a man whose past is very delicate. Let's just say like that. Even more, it's like he just can't rest in peace. I heard, just I'm gonna try to make some light and be a little bit humorous here about it. There was somebody on Twitter who posted, "Man, Hulk Hogan couldn't even let death win clean."
I said
hey, that doesn't work for me, brother.
No, I said to somebody, it sounds like he got on his last nerve, but
I feel bad, because it's like I'm not. If we're gonna call it down the middle, right? We're gonna call it, everything fair. So like I said, Steve Austin did this. The biggest thing that everybody's complained about with Hogan is that he didn't apologize for what he said. I didn't see where he didn't. I think I vaguely remember him saying, "Look, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done this." But in the same breath, he was the man who was also wrong. A court of his peers decided that Gawker was in the wrong to distribute footage of stuff that had no business distributing.
Which, what's funny is when you say just like that, when you see all these internet trolls and stuff like that, I think every one of them would have taken the $60 million over claiming, "Oh, I shouldn't have said this at this time." Because we all know there's
to be fair, he could have said that. He could have said, "I shouldn't have said this," and still won the lawsuit. But
what I'm saying, what I'm going to say is, listen, there's a lot of people that get caught in a hot mic saying things they shouldn't have said at the moment. Okay. Now,
but there's a lot of people that say shit that's far worse behind the scenes. They just don't get caught.
My only thing is, okay, how many times you can see it in the street. I've heard worse than that coming out of fathers' mouths.
Yeah.
My thing is, and if you look at the thing, he wasn't speaking as Hulk Hogan. He was speaking as Terry Bollea about his kid.
That goes back. Okay, so that goes back to the whole argument. Do people deserve to have a life outside of the mainstream? Was he still enough of a public figure that, anything he says can and will be used against him?
I will put it like this: in his personal life, because remember what he was going through in his personal life at the time, he should have been in his mind saying, "Hey, who can I trust?" You know what? Austin has a saying, "Don't trust anybody." And at that time,
yeah, but that is a miserable existence to live in.
And at that time, that should have been in Hogan's head, because I'm going through this right now. Who's trying to jump on my bandwagon now? And I've said it to you. Do I believe Bubba the Lumpsponge could have had something to say, "I'm going to set this man
Absolutely.
up"? Absolutely. Was there enough? Because why? If I can set him up and make a buck off of it and make myself relevant, I'm going after the number one name in the industry. Number one name in the industry, not the number one. He wasn't the number one entertainer at the time. He was the number one name in the industry. Bubba knew it.
Okay, so this is what I'm standing by, and this is my biggest argument about that. I'm not saying that you have to celebrate the life of Hulk Hogan. I understand there are plenty of people who don't like him. I get that. I don't like Hulk Hogan. But you don't have to cheer and glorify the man's death and be grateful that he's dead.
Dan, you know what's funny about that is, here we are. You have people, up with the death and stuff like that, coming out being stupid about the death of Hulk Hogan.
Absolutely.
And they're also being stupid about life happening too.
Yeah.
The same people who can be stupid about Hogan dying are now being stupid about a woman announcing a birthday.
And we're gonna. Well, see, I was worried about you last week being that person, but yeah, let's bring that up. The owner of the company that this young Raja Jackson beat that man senseless is one Junior Fatu also known as Rikishi. And see, something beautiful happened in the last couple weeks. Something that you and I speculated on that came out. You and I I think are in agreement that Naomi is on the hottest streak of her career right now, and she did a damn good job reinventing herself, coming back. At first, I wasn't a fan of this proceed with caution thing, but she really has, like, from her in-ring work to her character work to on the mic, she's just on another level as of recent. What's going on, Chayton? But what kills me is that last week, it really bugged me when you said, well, this is this, and this about her, and this is kind of just poor timing on her part. But when you heard that the woman was having fertility issues and that this was let's call it what it is, a miracle child, your whole demeanor changed. You were like, you know what? This is a wonderful thing for her. You know, congratulations to her and Big Jim. That's so good. But there are people out there to this day that are just pieces of shit that'll say whatever the fuck they think is okay, and they're fucking wrong. And one of those people happens to be her fucking father-in-law, Rikishi. What do you think about that, Gerard?
I've said it before. Like I've said it. My first opinion with it, she was being selfish. Hey, you just got pushed to the moon. You decided you're going to go off and say, you know what? I'm being pushed to the moon. I'm going to go get pregnant. At first, I thought it was selfish act myself until I found out the infertility problem that she was having, to where she wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant.
No. Thank you again for the 5, Chayton.
And by saying is, when you hear something like this, it should be embraced, not criticized or ridiculed. Her own father-in-law is going to sit there and ridicule her, but I'll tell you this right now. Ridicule as much as you want. But guess who's going to be trying to jump on? Okay? Once the baby comes, he's going to jump on the granddaddy wagon. And the only way to get around that for Naomi, you're not going to jump on that wagon so quickly. You're not going to do it. But I'm just saying is the fact of
I want to put something else out to you, Gerard.
Yeah.
What's going on, J-Man? And apparently Chait was in the same breath as you about the whole baby thing and then he felt bad when he found out about her inability. So maybe I'm the crazy one. But Rikishi also came out a couple months ago when Jay lost the belt, right? Talked about how it was unfair and they don't care about the family. They don't, this and this. How dare they take the belt off my son so soon, what have you. Lest we forget, how dare he say they don't care about his family when Roman held the belt for 3 fucking years. And Jay wasn't even supposed to win the title. That was a last-minute decision. From my understanding, again, I'm not back there. I don't know how much of this the stuff they get out to us is fake. But they don't care about your family, yet they promote the Samoan dynasty all over the place. No, they didn't give a shit about you because you didn't live up to your expectations when they wanted you to have that run. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. So I don't think we can take this guy's opinion with a grain of salt because he's full of shit.
If it wasn't for, and I'm going to say it, 2 guys that was able to turn his life around, Rikishi would have always been known as the Sultan. If it wasn't for Scotty 2 Hotty and Brian Christopher,
God rest his soul,
Rikishi would have not had a second. He would have never had a second life.
How many opportunities did he get? He was one of the head shrinkers. He was part of the Samoan SWAT team. He was the Sultan. You had Hall of Famers like Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik over there trying to get you over and gimmicks. And it took a gimmick where you got your big asses dancing with 2 poorly rhythm white boys who finally got their shit together, and it still wasn't enough.
Hey, one thing I got to interrupt, J-Man. If we get a 4-game sweep tonight, first time in 85 years, I'm so hoping for it. But to go back to Rikishi, I got to say this, okay? Think about this. And all the time he was out there and all his family was out there. The Rock got pushed before you. How many other family members got pushed over you? Doesn't say they were better. Doesn't say they were worse than you. But they knew how to do business better than you.
I know that not everybody's a fan of The Rock right now, but The Rock. I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. I know not everybody's a fan of Bret Hart right now, but I'm gonna go back to something Bret Hart said. It was a shoot interview from years ago, and he always finds it funny that the guys that are these fucking agents and the guys that are running wrestling are usually the guys that never made it, the guys that never held a belt. They're never guys that really, got over in the business until recently. Someone like Triple H is now kind of in charge, and say what you want about him, but he held that world title more than most people. And now and look how great the fucking industry has been as far as they go, right? And what bothers me is you have a bunch of guys who are trying to rewrite history and doing podcasts and all this other shit. And how did that work out for them? Rikishi has no business talking about anything when, these hard takes are sound that they're coming from a bitter man who never amounted to shit. My opinion.
It's the way of staying relevant to where, we got Rikishi talking negative because he's a name and stuff like that. The sad part is the only reason why he's a name is because of his big ass. That's it.
He was a gimmick wrestler, and he'll never be as good as his cousin, Umaga. He'll never be as good as Yoko. I mean, Yoko was a big man, but there's no one who's going to sit there and say that Yoko wasn't one of the greatest big men of all time, actually held the world title. And no one can say it was because of Rikishi's stature and build, because Yokozuna had the same build and won that world title and made it legitimate. He was a legitimate force. What he did in that Royal Rumble, what he did, he main evented WrestleMania. He holds a win over Hulk Hogan. Say what you want, but Yokozuna was one of the greatest big men of all time, even for the short term.
And if I'm right, he never hurt anybody.
Not even once, from my understanding. Even with the bonsai drop.
The 600-pound man didn't hurt a damn soul. Think about it. Let's take a look at Mabel. How many people did he injure? I think I'm saying it right. No, Viscera. I'm sorry, Viscera.
It was the same guy, Mabel, Viscera. Yeah.
Yeah. How many people did he injure? So, but my thing with Rikishi is like this: stop your yapping. Be happy for your kid. Be happy for your daughter-in-law.
Be happy for your fucking family because they're getting the due they deserve. Look, in the beginning, for years, I was never the biggest Roman fan. I was always a Bray Wyatt fan. So when it was, when during the COVID era, when Roman took the belt off the Fiend, yeah, it bugged me. I didn't like it. I thought, man, again, they're going to give it to this fuck. Why? But he earned it, man. I'm telling you right now, watching him, and though Trips, the missus, the lovely light of my life, the joy of my day, though she is not the biggest Roman fan and she will never acknowledge Roman has earned every bit of it, man. I sit there and I think he's one of the coolest wrestlers ever. That heel run was the best thing that could have happened to him. Y'all see me I don't wear shirts unless I like the guys I'm wearing the shirts for. I'm not going to waste my money on a product if I don't like the character. I have Roman Reigns shirts that I wear now because I think the motherfucker's the shit, and I don't have a problem saying it. People can sit there and make fun of that, but I don't give a fuck. He's earned it. He's cool. He's a badass, cool, bad guy. Well, I guess a good guy now, but he did that on his own. That wasn't marketing. That wasn't them pushing him down your throat. That was him getting over.
And it wasn't supposed to happen.
He was supposed to be that bad guy.
It wasn't supposed to happen. If COVID doesn't happen, we don't see that Roman Reigns if COVID doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, he found a way to be Uzi.
And I'm saying we listen, in that 3-year run, we saw shit we never seen before.
Who's ever fucking ran the belt all that time? And people can say he was a part-time champion, but you wanted to see him. You damn sure wanted to see him. But who had done 1, 2, 3 WrestleManias in a row as champion?
Well, here's the
defending champion.
Here's the other thing too is, give me.
No. I'm sorry. 4 times. The one with Lesnar.
Yeah.
The one with Edge and Daniel Bryan. The one with Cody, and finally lost at the second one with Cody.
Think about it like this, okay? And I want people to understand this. He did something to where the matches that he was having weren't bad. Like the match he had with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam was freaking incredible.
The one he had with Logan Paul at Crown Jewel. I mean,
we were all rooting for Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Now we want nothing to do with Logan Paul. I'm just saying is the fact of people in the wrestling world, I swear, all suffer from short-term memory loss.
I argue that it was Roman that brought the butts back in the seats. He became compelling television. He became the reason to watch the fucking show.
And the thing was, you didn't know when he was going to be there. So you wanted to be in the building for when he was there. It's like what's going on with John Cena right now. Thank God you say to yourself, was it the worst heel turn in the history of wrestling?
I wouldn't say it's the worst. It wasn't great, but it needed to be done. So now we have I watched the Ariel Helwani with Paul Heyman. He said it perfectly. But at least now we don't have to wonder about it. Oh, it worked. It did whatever. It didn't work. Because if you really want to think about it, John Cena's been a heel for almost 20 years.
Look like this. He probably made more money in the past 8 months than he did in the past 4 years, whatever it was like that, on a limited schedule. But his merchandise not only didn't drop, because of the way they marketed it, I think his merchandise went through the roof.
Well,
listen, you come out in Montreal, Canada, wearing the Montreal Canadiens colors on a John Cena shirt. Remember when he first started, he'd be in that town or something like that, wearing Mitchell and Ness shirt of a sports team in that town.
Yeah.
The marketing people decide, you know what? We're going to get the team colors and put your face on the team colors.
When he was in San Antonio, he got the old school San Antonio Spurs colors. Now, and I'll go so far as to say this. I think that another argument can be made that the Cena fans, the little kids that were the "Let's go Cena," have grown up, and
they're bringing their kids now.
they're bringing their kids now, and I think that's something endearing. I think I'm not look. I was one of those guys who said Cena sucks. I was there. I've been the whole 20 years watching wrestling that Cena's been around. I was between 19, 21 years old when he won his first world title. I've watched all 20 years of John Cena. Not all great, and that's fine. I'll say this: he deserves his flowers at the end, and whatever happens, thank you for the memories, John. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being that guy. I guess I'm not going to say I'm a fan of yours, but I will say that I will, and people are saying it's overrated. That match with him and Cody at SummerSlam, amazing. That he was able to pull that out at his age.
When was the last time you saw a match like that go on that long? Blood-free, number one.
Yep.
And kept you entertained the whole match. You wanted to see what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? That's all you kept looking at. But they didn't need the blood and the guts and the gore to get it through. They did the exact same story in 45 minutes that you see other people do in 45 minutes, but it has to have all that attached to it.
And I'm going to bring something up that you brought up earlier. I don't like watching AEW. I don't watch AEW. I watch highlights or whatever, but you brought it up before. Well, tonight was Forbidden Door in London at the O2. They've bragged that it was the highest attended event that in the O2's history, whatever, they're pushing that. Will Ospreay, who I do like Will Ospreay quite a bit. I do like. It's not a matter of not liking the stars; it's a matter of not liking their product. Will Ospreay and his team went over, and you said something that made me think. Will Ospreay is going to go away for a while because he's hurt. Swerve is hurt. There's a bunch of people that are hurt, and we know they're not going to be around for a little while. So why not let fucking Ospreay walk out with his head held high? Nope, the Death Riders got to come, and they got to put a reason why he's hurt. I don't get it. The internet fans are out there. They're not stupid. They know that he's hurt. So maybe I just don't understand this booking. Maybe I don't understand that indie style booking. I've been watching the indies for years. I've been watching shit like MLW, Ring of Honor, all this stuff. I watch the Japanese stuff. I watch AAA. This is not a form of wrestling I get.
The only thing I can think about is that they announced 2 events. One in Manchester in December, which he probably will not be back for that.
No.
And All In next year is back in London. If you're going to have him come back next year in London, you don't know who else is going to be on the goddamn roster. So the people who attacked him today might not even be around next August.
I'll argue this. There are some decent story. Like one of the biggest complaints that people have that are AEW haters. Not that I hate that company. I'm just not a fan of their product, so I'm not going to watch it. That's a fair statement. You can put that out there. I don't. They have storylines. They're there. I'll argue and say that the Hangman Adam Page storyline was good. The redemption arc was good. I love the interaction between him and Swerve. They are far more underrated. I just don't like it. It feels to me like they don't have ground rules to say, hey, I don't want you to do this because you're going to get fucking hurt. Perfect example. So I'm not sounding like a fucking hypocrite, and I'm bringing up facts. One of the comments that CM Punk brought up is his biggest argument with Jack Perry was they didn't want to use real glass on a fucking car. Okay? It was for his safety. We're telling stories, people. That's what the whole thing was. They're telling stories. And in telling a story, you don't have to fucking maim your body. I didn't like, every so often I get the staple guns and the fucking barbed wire 2x4s and the flaming tables. I get it. And maybe it's because I'm older and I'm hoping that I'm a little more wiser. That's why I don't think ECW at its most violent would have lasted. When you had guys that are dipping their fucking hands in glass and beating the piss out of each other. There's a niche audience for that. I get it, but that's not everybody. I like good, old-fashioned, classic arm drags and pro wrestling. I don't need to see high spots every fucking match.
You know what? I'm glad you bring that up because tonight, the Forbidden Door pay-per-view ended with an unsanctioned cage match.
Yeah.
Okay? With 2 referees inside the cage. That's the first thing that was it blew my mind. But then JR starts talking about this cage match.
How big was this cage?
It was 1 ring, and the cage was probably the size of a War Games match, a War Games cage. Okay. He almost did a proverbial slip in saying it's the most impressive cage he's ever seen. And I was about to lose my shit because I was like, wait a minute, JR. Weren't you sitting there front row when Mick Foley got thrown off the top of the damn cage? It goes to show you sometimes to where as good as sometimes announcers can be, they kiss their boss's ass too much to where it's like, let's just forget about all history, JR. And remember, the most awesome spectacle out of a steel cage that we saw at the time was a guy getting thrown off. And what did he say? He will kill himself for the business. What some of these momos in AEW are doing, they're not killing themselves for the business.
They're killing the business.
Right. Mick Foley's thing off changed the business. It changed it.
I'm getting again. This is a common theme we've talked about, you and I, and it kills me that I'm an old man now, and I'm basically my father with the fucking damn these kids and their mumble rap music and their no fucking talent. Fucking, I don't understand what's going on. I'm old. Give me, get off my lawn style fucking mentality I have now. But I miss the days when a DDT was a DDT. I miss the days when not everybody used the super kick. I miss the days when a fucking pile driver meant, oh my God, he's going to the fucking hospital tonight, and we don't now. This is my greatest fear as far as wrestling. Someone's going to die. I am terrified that they're going to have that since they're up. They always have to up the level. Someone's going to die, and it breaks my heart because it's like this is not the wrestling I grew up with, and I get it. I'm almost 40 years old. All right, and I miss. There are some high flying maneuvers that I think are amazing. When watching fucking someone like Vikingo do a fucking fucking 1400 or whatever how many times he's rotating now. I watch this stuff. I think that's amazing. That's an athletic feat, but he's also not fucking doing a 1400 while setting his ass on fire with a Bunsen burner and trying to set someone else on fire. It goes back to again. How far do you have to go to make it look realistic? If you didn't fuck with the business to begin with, we could still have those quality matches. I will put the old NWA TV shoot matches of the Midnight Express against the Rock and Roll Express, or the Rock and Roll Express against the Horsemen, or Tully Blanchard against Magnum TA in a steel cage against any of the shit we see now. And I promise you that NWA shit's going to look more realistic.
There was a saying, protect the gimmick. These guys today don't even protect. Listen, how many people do we see tombstone pile drivers nowadays? Okay,
spinning. No, it's not okay. A tombstone pile driver is fine. I can accept that as a finish. I can't accept a spinning spiral tombstone Canadian destroyer pile driver.
That's what I'm saying. Is the fact of somebody made a living off just giving a tombstone pile driver. Somebody made a living off a simple leg drop. Off the DDT. How many people do the perfect plex nowadays?
Yeah.
Listen, growing up.
Speaking to hold on one second. Leland, the two comments you just made, one about the 4 matches in wrestling. I want to get into the women's wrestling in a second. And yeah, we talked about at the beginning. That was the son of MMA superstar and future Hall of Famer Quentin Rampage Jackson, his son, Raja Jackson, that we talked about a little earlier. It's disgusting. There's no place for it in the wrestling business. There's no place for that in MMA, to be honest with you. I don't agree. Rampage has put out a statement. He completely is against what his son did, but he said it plainly. That's still my son. He's wishing for a speedy recovery of that Syko Stu wrestler that was this attack was put on. It was all originally staged. It wasn't supposed to go to where it went. Somebody took liberties. Let's just say we did talk about it. I'm wiping my hands of the whole situation, and whatever happens to him happens to him. If I were Stu and his family and that organization, I would distance myself from that and absolutely look to proceeding with legal action. That's my stance on that.
But getting back to these guys today, they could care less about the history of the business because all they do is use old school guys' finishers. You know what you don't see a lot of? Remember something called the Boston Crab? Something like that, not even used. It's not even called the Boston Crab anymore.
It's called the Walls of Jericho.
Yeah, or the sharpshooter, whatever you want to call it. Okay?
Or that's also, if you reverse that and do the left leg instead of the right leg, it's called the Scorpion Death Drop.
Yeah.
Death Lock.
And, the figure 4 leg lock, when it's put on you,
hurts like hell.
If there's if it hurts like hell, only if the person applying it applies pressure. Yeah. If there's no pressure, now don't get me wrong, it will still stretch your legs.
It's hell on your shins and your fucking yeah.
But there's no pain if you're not getting pressure put on. Put a little pressure on, oh, it freaking hurts like a son of a gun. And then when you reverse it, so the reversing part of it is also true. But when you look at this whole thing when I look at the whole thing as a whole, all these people using all these moves and stuff like that, and the guys who did the moves first and how they took care of other guys in the ring to today's athletes, because we've mentioned before, they worked 300 nights a year. They got better at their craft. They honed their craft. They knew how to take care of the other guy across the ring.
There was also a loyalty to a finisher. Do you know there's only been 2 teams that ever kicked out of the 3D? That was the Usos, and that was the Motor City Machine Guns in TNA. You know that no one has ever kicked out of Scott Hall's Razor's Edge.
How many people do it today?
1 person. Well, I mean, to be fair, they've been changed up. There's different versions of it. Like, okay, perfect example. Someone like someone like Sheamus. He does the what the fuck is it called? Celtic Cross. It was a different form of a power bomb. Let's just call it what it was. And then you have someone like Nash who completely reinvented the power bomb, and the way he did it was so different than anybody else. It was a jackknife power bomb. It looked like a legitimate jackknife in a truck.
He looked like he was going to throw your ass through a ring.
Fucking A.
Now, see, there was one. I'm going to go back a little bit. There was a group in ECW, Cronus, and I want to say it's Cronus and Satin. They used a move called Total Elimination. Total Elimination, I don't think it's been really used that much. I don't think it's ever been used before.
We have an update right now from PW Insider. Reports that WWE officials are actively discussing the incident involving Raj Jackson, who was violently attacked fellow performer Syko Stu during the Knox X Pro event, leading to a full-blown Los Angeles PD investigation. While no formal statement has been made by WWE yet, the company's affiliation with Knox Pro as an accredited WWE ID school is now under internal scrutiny.
You know, let me tell you something. So, just so people understand, we have one of those up here. About 30 miles north of me, we have a WWE ID place. Okay. The person who runs it, I know. Me and him were actually talking about it one night. You know, how the secretive of this
is he the one that talks to you about, let's just say, money?
No.
Okay.
So me and him, I walked into the place that it was being done at. I looked at him. He was taking down a ring. And we ended up just having a 20-minute conversation about the business, about things that went on in the past. And I saw the WWE ID on the thing. He goes, yeah. He goes, it was so secretive to get it done and stuff like that. I said, oh, you got to be on your toes now all the time, right? He goes, oh, yeah. I don't want to lose it. When you walk in, you see that ID on, if you're a prospective wrestler, that means something.
That means money.
That's what that means. To lose that. Was that guy doing what he did last night worth losing that?
They didn't see it. They didn't think he was going to do that. Who could, I'm more worried about why it took somebody so long to try to get him off of him.
Yep.
After the second shot, you see he is not responding. He's making, see him.
He looked like he was out.
Yeah.
For a second shot. He looked like he was out. But then that's what I'm saying to where it's like, I'll tell you this right now. And like we bring it up. The mass transit incident. You know how many wrestlers were in that freaking ring? It's like the whole ECW locker room came out for that thing. Where were the people to protect him? Where, you saw how many guys came into the ring. You heard the fans.
Well, go back go back to years ago. I remember Jimmy Cornette came out and talked about an incident where some guy rushed the ring, grabbed him. The referee kicked the guy in the face. The referee kicked the guy in the face. You had the Horseman jumping all over this guy. You had the Midnight jumping all over this guy. Jimmy Cornette tried to kick the guy in the face. A fan. You jumped that barricade? Okay, you just became part of the show and not a part of the show you want to become.
I'm glad you said it. I was in New Haven, Connecticut. The match was Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior. The Nasty Boys got into the cage. Now, this is a cage match. So they get in the cage and they're interfering. a fan jumped the cage and proceeded to clothesline from the back the Nasty Boys. It did not end well for this fan. You had Savage, the Nasty Boys. He was now crawling to get out of that cage. And when he got out in the New Haven Coliseum, I'm going to say 6 police officers. And you know, it was such a big deal. It actually made the USA Today like 2 days later.
Go back to even sooner. More recently, in the last couple of years, Bret Hart was at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that piece of shit. And in the FTR, before they left WWE, they put a beating on that little shit.
Listen, Mike Chioda, he said he's been involved in people jumping in the ring, and he's beating fans down. It'd be like, you know, in Mike Tyson's heyday, it would have been like a fan jumping in and trying to block Mike Tyson.
No, let me correct. Raja was not a fan. He was there to do work. But again, you can tell when it's going past work.
And I'm saying is, when you get into that squared circle, you take an inherited risk. That was not an inherited risk. That, to me, that was a premeditated attack. And there's nothing anybody in Rikishi's family can say, or this other guy's father that can say that says, my son had a bad night. Your son didn't have
There's enough footage of him saying, he did this to me, so I did this to him.
That's premeditated.
Exactly.
And in my world, in your world, that's assault all day long. And I'll tell you this right now. If I'm WWE, to get away from this,
I'm dropping that ID. I'm dropping that ID.
Yep. You want that back, you better frickin' earn it.
No, fuck that. Again, it's Rikishi's wrestling thing. So fuck that. Fuck Rikishi, fuck all that.
You should when you run something like that, like I said, by talking to that guy, you are now on nails. You're on needles and pins, you know, because you don't want you walk on glass every day now because you don't want that WWID banner taken off your school. That means something. That means the people that they're sending there, WWE is taking care of you to train them properly. That's funding for your school.
Well, and speaking of training properly, and speaking of people coming up, I'm proud of you, Gerard. You have come a long way in the art and the fucking talent of women's wrestling.
I did.
And that begs the question, you and I think, would agree that I'm watching to see what's going to happen more right now with the women than anything else. Leland said it better than anybody else could have said it in the comment section. There are 4 matches of the 6 that involve women tonight for a WWE PLE.
Yep.
What does that say about the state of women's fucking wrestling?
I'll tell you what it says to me. And I'm hoping that they get away from it. It says one or two things to me. It says, men, we can push whenever. Or it says, they're killing it. The women are killing it in the AAA world. The women are killing it in AAA right now.
I would disagree. They're not killing it in AAA. They're killing it in American wrestling.
Well, no. I'm saying is WWE's the major leagues.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So the minor leagues.
They're killing it in AAA right now. The men better stop grabbing their baseball bats and hit the ball a little farther because right now the women are knocking it out of the ballpark.
So,
and you know what? Let's say what it is. The Evolution pay-per-view. Will it go down as the pay-per-view of the year?
It could very well. It was a damn good pay-per-view.
It could go down as the pay-per-view of the year.
And with no promoting. They've been promote that for shit.
No. You know who promoted that? The women on that damn card promoted that.
Yeah, they did.
And you know what? Give me the up and comers right now who are promoting anything to where they want to make you watch. They want to make you tune in to see them. Right now, the women are on fire. They want you to get in there. They want you to see. You know what? Look at the women they got coming in right now. Okay?
I know you're a big fan of Lash Legend. I know you're a big fan of Lash Legend. And I know you're a big fan of Sol Ruka.
And I'm saying to you, listen, the Sol Ruka finishing move. Could you see any man pulling that finishing move off?
No, not right now.
No. She has gold just with her finishing move.
I saw her do that almost a year ago, and I was invested. I saw her do that before. It was right when they did the women's North American title. They just started that title. I saw her do it in a promo. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Why do I not know about her? And I just was invested.
I heard her talking on a show one day, and she comes just down as a down-to-earth person who says it. If this ended tomorrow, I would just go back to working at a coffee shop or something like that. But she said, for as long as I'm here, I'm going to give this everything I got for as long as I'm here. And what that says to me is this. I don't need this. But while I'm doing it, why not do it the best of my abilities? Where there's some people who train their whole lives that don't get to where she's got. Why? To me, and you might not understand this, a lot of wrestlers get lazy.
Yeah.
It's like the up and coming cop. Oh, he for the first 5 years of his career, he's writing tickets left and right. All he wants to do is write tickets. Then he realizes, wait, hold on. I'm not helping anybody out by just writing tickets all the time. Okay? All I'm doing is hurt my own wrist. These up and coming guys, when they feel like they've made it, they get lazy about it. And they wonder why they don't get the bigger push. And you know what the laziest part is? It's not so much in the ring. It's on the microphone. And I think you'll understand to where the girls right now, Stephanie Vaquer, to her credit, doesn't speak very good English. Very limited. But what she does and what she can say, she's better in that limited than half the men.
Well, speaking of Stephanie Vaquer, I want to talk to you about that. So she's got a match at Clash in Paris for the Women's World title. We've got...
Against who?
Exactly. We've got Io Sky out there. We got Rhea Ripley out there. We got Lyra Valkyrie out there. We got Bailey out there, which I'm really starting to dig her new little gimmick where she's a nut job. We got a lot of folks out there, and for the first time in a long time, I don't know where we're going in the women's division, and I'm curious. I want to know what's going to fucking happen.
Tomorrow night on Raw, what they should do, I hope they don't go to the Battle Royal route and then the winner of the Battle Royal is the champion. I don't want to see that.
Well, I wouldn't mind if there was a Battle Royal and the winner gets to face Stephanie Vaquer to decide the new champion.
Tomorrow night on Raw, he comes down and announces a women's fatal four-way. And that woman will go to
Clash in Paris.
To face Stephanie Vaquer. But who are the four women? That's the problem.
I think you put Io Sky in there. I think you put the Prodigy, Roxanne Perez. I think you put Rhea Ripley. And who else? Just for fun, you could also put Chelsea Green.
Because here's my thing. After Clash in Paris, what's the next pay-per-view?
Isn't it's Perth, right?
Yes. Does she go down there with it, or does she leave there with it? What sells better?
I don't think Rhea is going to win the belt.
But what sells better for down there, though? Having her the title going in, or
Have her going for the title. I think she has to go for the title.
Go put her in a match for the title in there.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you have her win tomorrow night, how do you get there?
So you don't. So Rhea doesn't win. Rhea needs to. So this is how I again. You and I talk about fantasy booking. Like I said, you have
somebody costs Rhea the chance.
Or, no. Hear me out. What you do is you have that fatal four with the women I talked about, right? Io is going to get screwed by Asuka, setting up a program with those two.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea is going to be there to break up the pin, but she's not going to get there in time because she gets stopped by whoever she gets stopped by. Which, oh well, shit, damn it. Okay, she gets thrown out of the ring. If I'm WWE, I'm thinking Chelsea Green. So I would say that Rhea hits the fucking riptide on whoever she's going to pin, and then Chelsea throws her out of the ring and takes the pin for herself. Then you set up Chelsea against Stephanie Vicaire, or whoever, against Stephanie Vicaire for the title. Stephanie wins it. Rhea goes up against Stephanie because she was this close again to winning the title.
What about Bianca?
Is she maybe that could work? Ultimately, I'm wanting to see Bianca versus Rhea, or no, I want to see Bianca versus Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. That's the route I think they should be going. What you looking up?
Because I'm just saying is the fact of you can make it very interesting tomorrow night, but don't have a women's battle royal for it because women's battle royals and stuff like that. It just I want to the way they've been doing the women's matches lately. It does no justice to have a women's battle royal. Not with the way now.
Well, you have less is more. I think you're right, and the fact that less is more, and the fact if you don't even do a fatal four way, you do a triple threat.
My other one was, how about a gauntlet?
Well, you need to get off this gauntlet.
No, I'm just saying. Hey, pull out the old Eric Bischoff, spin the wheel, make the deal. You know?
Really, you're doing that right now? Is that today? Oh.
But hey, one thing before I forget though, happy birthday, Vince McMahon.
Of course, you had to put that in
there because I had to bring that up because of the shirt you're wearing.
Yeah.
Because if we, as we're talking about things and stuff like that, it's been 3 weeks now, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to talk about it. Brock Lesnar's return.
Yeah.
You had a lot of people on the fence on both ways of this one.
Are you ready to put that up?
My thing on the fence is it took too long for him to come back.
Well, I'll say this. We had a conversation with somebody who's a little younger, who has a completely unbiased, doesn't really into the business. We explained the whole story to him and said, hey, this is what's up. This is what happened. Talked about the facts, not being a wrestling fan, not being someone who's into the business. In fact, for all intents and purposes, despises wrestling and thinks it's stupid. But we brought to him all the information. And the reason why it was good to ask him is because he's so much younger and is not into it. And he said, why the fuck is this guy getting punished for one, a crime he was never accused of. Two, there's no facts to link him to the crime. And three, he's not even the one who's being adjudicated against. In fact, he was not even brought up. Now, two guys that were brought up were John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon. All day long, they got brought up. And she's was at one point taking them both to court, which establishes a narrative that she has no problem taking anybody who wronged her to civil court. If she thought she was going to get some money, well, Brock would have been a guy to get some money out of. But she didn't. She took Johnny Ace and Kennedy McMahon. At no point does it have Brock Lesnar in that lawsuit other than as being a party involved and having knowledge. Now, you can say that he knew what was going on, but I stand by the fact that those text messages speak 1,000 words. He never went. He never showed up. He was too drunk to perform. I'm going to ask you something, Gerard. Hopefully your significant other's not around to hear this. If there was a time where you were attracted to somebody and you knew it was a sure thing, you were going to get some booty. You're going to be there, right?
No.
You're not going to be there. Like, you have the opportunity to get some butt, some booty, and you're not going to take it.
Nope.
Why not?
I'm scared to get sued for it. And I've had this situation that you're talking about.
No, okay, that's not what I'm saying. It's a consensual thing, right?
Oh.
And you know it's consensual, and you're told that this is something both parties are wanting. This is someone you know you're interested in. There's an attraction.
Oh, okay. Oh, and, well, I mean, has it ever been said that there's going to be part of the plan? No.
No, what I'm saying is what I'm getting at is, if you've ever set up a date with somebody, like you're going to go out and hang out with, like, this is just going to be, something fun we're going to do, whatever.
Right.
Like,
it turns into something. It's one thing.
Yeah. Now, and does it get to a point where you're too drunk to go do what you're going to do? No, you make sure you're there. You make sure you're ready to go. Yeah,
absolutely.
So again, when I hear this whole thing of he was too drunk, well, he made himself too drunk. He decided to drink too much, allegedly, because it doesn't seem like he was interested or wanted this.
Listen,
I'm not there. I'm not him. I can't. I'm just speculating. We don't have the text.
I've seen some cases of men being too drunk, and I'll tell you this right now. I myself have been inebriated to the point to where that was not the first thing on my mind.
Fair.
The cold toilet was the first thing on my mind. Because think about it. The way I always look at it like this. They say, if you're going to do that, you got to enjoy it. But you can't enjoy it if you're so inebriated.
Again, this is all speculatory. And going back to the conversations that they've had, I don't feel like it's something that happened. I don't in my gut. If I'm wrong one day, yeah, fine. I'll burn the fucking shirt. I'll say that Brock is a piece of shit. I already think Vince is a piece of shit, but I'll go down that route and I'll say that. I'll be that guy that says, yeah, you're right. You're right. He's this, he's that. I don't see enough evidence. And we're supposed to be people who go on evidence and facts. Well, the facts don't point to that.
Well, the other thing is too is a lot of people that bring up the evidence and facts are not the most reputable people to be announcing facts like that anyway, because you have you have your legal system. Okay, you have your legal system. And the people who sometimes report from the legal stuff are so zealous to get their story out first, they don't always look at the fine print. They look at the headline of the article. They might not read the whole thing, but by the time they get down to the whole thing, it's like, it's like that 10 questionnaire thing to where it says, before you do anything, read all instructions. And as soon as you get to the second one, you already start screwing up because you start following everything it tells you to do. Where it says now you get down to number 10, is that you wouldn't have had all to do all this if you just paid attention to number 1.
So I'm going to bring up something without really bringing it up, but it's something you'll understand. Recently, you talked to a friend or a family member of a close friend of yours. It was a very in-depth conversation. You were kind enough to share some of that information with me, and you were kind enough to share that information with somebody else who is a quote-unquote journalist. And I sat there as your friend, and I kept my mouth shut, and I was happy that you got to make that connection again. I was happy that y'all could have that conversation and all that. What really bothered me is this quote-unquote journalist who was all about finding out the truth. And both of us thought that they were trying to do the right thing. They were looking for the right thing. But ultimately, come to find out, they were only trying to be the first to get the scoop. And that they had reached out to this individual even after you had told them, let me talk to them. I'm friends with the family. And I think there's a little too much of that. There was a time when your Walter Cronkites and your Wolf Blitzers where the news meant something. The facts meant something. Was it just the facts? If we're going back to Dragnet, right? There was a time when a man's handshake, a man's word meant something, and we are at an age with the so-called fucking reporters and so-called fact finders that none of this shit means anything to them, because there's not going to be a retraction. Oh, we're sorry. Brock wasn't the piece of shit we thought he was. Oh, if Vince comes out, as he may very well, as not guilty of anything and what have you, and this is all bullshit, there's not going to be a retraction to say, well, Vince wasn't this. There's never going to be a retraction about Hulk Hogan. There's never going to be a retraction about any of these people that possibly could have been innocent. And it's a damn shame. Integrity should mean something. Have the integrity to stand by your word. And I'm telling you right now, if something comes out, I'm wrong, and I'm wearing this fucking shirt for an absolute reason. If I come to find that this piece of shit was a piece of shit, then I'm going to fucking burn the shirt, go into the garbage. It is what it is because I was wrong. And nobody else has the fucking balls to say, hey, innocent until proven guilty. And I'm sorry, the facts don't completely say that. People let personal feelings get involved. Look, my personal feelings towards Terry Bollea is that I'm not a fan. I thought he did some shitty stuff. I didn't agree with his way of doing business, but I will never deny him what he was. My personal feelings are that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is a piece of shit based on the facts and the information that I found about him. But if it comes out that he was innocent of some of these things, well, then I have to retract and say, hey, that's on me. I believe this. Don't know if it's true or not. And nobody seems to fucking want to just open up and say, hey, I could be fucking wrong. The facts point this way, but I could be fucking wrong.
When you come out and talk about all that, let me ask you this. Some people claim a settlement is a guilty thing.
Not necessarily. In fact, I just talked about this other court case that happened in Australia. I won't bring up the names because it's not really relevant to this particular topic, but your lawyer, if you were suing me and I was suing you back, right? Our lawyers would tell us they want to settle. It doesn't mean you've lost the case. It means you've come to an agreement. You've come to an understanding. Does not necessarily mean you've lost the case, but continue.
My thing is, okay, so 1 million, 3 million, okay? She claims he paid her, he was supposed to pay a 3. He claims, so he gave a 1, right? What happens if they settled for another $1 million, but the case stays closed? Does that mean Vince paid her off? Or does that mean she said, you know what, screw it. I don't want to go on with the trial anymore. Let me just go on and live my life.
Well, let's we can break down the case and wife, please correct me if I'm wrong. She's suing him because he failed to live up to his obligations as far as the NDA, right? That's what she's suing him for?
The other $2 million.
Breach of contract, right?
Yeah.
He did. So he didn't pay, so she could tell her story, right? Well, she's told her story, so now he doesn't have to pay.
Right. But I'm saying if he decides to say, you know what, I want this to go away.
If you want to chime in, please. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he paid her to keep her mouth quiet, right? Keep shut on this whole thing.
Yep.
Now she's got to say what she wants, and she wants her money too.
Yeah.
Then she's broken the NDA. So he broke it first. So because he didn't pay her, he didn't pay her. Does that mean he wasn't going to pay her later? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it means.
There was a schedule.
Yeah.
He didn't meet the schedule.
He didn't meet the schedule.
He defaulted on the NDA. She was allowed to talk about it. The fact that he didn't pay her, and here's what the circle.
Here's the thing for you. Between the payment missed date and the day she got a lawyer, or did she already have the lawyer before the payment missed date?
And these are the questions that I don't think people are asking. How fast was it that he missed this deadline?
Yep.
Before she took legal action. Again, he's paying her to not say something, right? He's paying her how shitty it is.
The NDA, right? That's the other thing. Who drew it up? Was it her lawyers who drew it up?
His attorney, Jerry McDevitt, did it.
But there's got to be somebody on her side to look at it.
No, Vince told her she didn't need anybody.
Vince told her she didn't need anybody. But again, we're talking about documentation. She was paid. Again, she here we go. Hold on. I knew it. She's the expert on this. Go ahead.
I'm not the expert. But no, so he told her, you don't need an attorney. Please sign this quick, because by that time, Linda had found out everything and he was trying to cover his ass. Now, he missed the payment, and the question of how quickly she hired an attorney, I can't answer. But she's the whistleblower who emailed the board of directors. So he voided the NDA, and she notified the board, and that's when all of that started. So had she not blown the whistle, we wouldn't know about the other 3 NDAs and all the other circumstances that he was paying illegally out of WWE's money, out of their bank.
So she had access to the other 3 NDAs too?
No, the NDA, those
They
can't.
found it during the internal investigation.
Okay. So when you look at this as a whole, it's like I said to somebody, like, listen, when you read some of the things he allegedly did, how come she never went to the Greenwich Police Department? That's my first question. Or wherever the shared apartment was, or the townhouse, wherever this apartment was.
I guess he's asking you.
I was letting him finish.
What I'm just saying is, why, when the first, like, in all this stuff, to jump to civil first and not try and get the criminal charge first? Why do people always got to jump at the civil thing, not criminal?
Which, okay,
Because there's a lesser burden of proof if it's civil.
No, that ain't. I'm asking the question, and that's exactly the answer. Because if you get the right jury, the right 6 people, because I think it's only 6 people on a civil trial compared to 12 as a criminal. You get the right people, you're going to get found guilty.
Well, and Gerard, this is one of the things that's always look. The one beautiful thing about a lot of this is it got them to come out and admit that they did know about Ash Mazzaro. That was one of my biggest things, because everything, like the whole reason we started investigating on our end was because of Ashley Mazzaro. I go back and I'll say it. There was somebody that brought it to our attention about Ashley Mazzaro. It stuck, and it crawled into my skin, and I believe yours as well, right? Like you were bothered by it. You know, we learned about the Rita Chatterton stuff. We learned about the Nancy Argentino. The Nancy Argentino.
The sandbar massage therapist. Like, it was an onion that there were many layers, right?
And there were so many things about Vince. We found out about his mother and his sister and her boyfriend and the girl in the woods with the leaves and everything about Vince and the kind of human being he was. It really was disturbing. And then, so this stuff with this court case that came out and the stuff that happened, absolutely, I'm grateful, because it vindicated a lot of the stuff that Ashley was saying. It vindicated a lot of stuff that a lot of people were saying. But what always bothered me, because people just, this idea that it has to be black and white is ridiculous. There can be all wrong. There can be all right. There can be some right and some wrong. But again, I go back to this Janelle Grant thing, and with her, the big issue was, if you felt you were violated, if the story you're putting out is all these bad things happen to you, then why not ever go? You know what? Go to something as prominent as the O.J. Simpson trial. They went to criminal court first.
Well, yeah, there was a murder.
Yes.
There was an actual crime.
This was an assault. This was
this was an assault over a period of time, and you're getting into an area with her. Depending on how this shakes out, we don't know her. We don't know what really happened.
Yeah.
Only she and Vince really know, right? If you take her at face value, and I'm not saying you have to, but if you take her at face value, this is a woman who was allegedly mentally, sexually, physically abused over a period of time by a man who is much more powerful, had much more resources. It's no different than, because they were in a relationship, right? No different than domestic assault between a husband and a wife. They don't leave. You're scared. He had her terrified. He's a billionaire megalomaniac.
Here's a question for you. What happened to the boyfriend?
The fiance that she was living with?
Yeah, what happened to him?
I don't know.
How come nobody's heard from this guy? Does he have an NDA on him to where he can't talk about her?
He might.
Because she sounds like the primrose, but I'm just saying, as a fact of, we're hearing, if you notice, most of this stuff, we're hearing from one person and one person's attorney, okay? Now, I don't want to piss off Gloria Aldred. I know. Shocking. I'm just saying, as a fact of, I was looking at something, reading something the other day about this whole Me Too movement.
Thank you.
Like that, okay? To where there was some good is very bad about the Me Too movement.
Absolutely.
And being able to get to that line to where the truth and the non-truth. You don't really hear about the Me Too movement anymore. And one of the things that killed the Me Too movement was this stupid Bud Light person, to where you had one of the biggest names in America get absolutely crucified because they used a transgender person to promote beer over.
That's not Me Too.
Oh no, I'm saying is the fact of that. A lot of these movements have calmed down a lot.
Okay, so you say that. I would argue that it was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard lawsuit.
Oh, God.
I think that's what really killed the Me Too movement, because she sat there and accused him, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Oh my God, she's such a victim, and she was made to look a fool over and over and over and over again, and he won the case. But did it do damage to his reputation? To some regard, yeah. He was dragged through the mud for a very long time.
Well, let's go with the one with Blake Lively and this other one going on right now. This producer that she had, she's accusing him. Wait, what did he take out? Like a $400 million lawsuit against her?
Yeah,
It got tossed out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That one, his part got tossed out, not her part. And I'm just saying is, in today's, when I was growing up, to hear about a lawsuit for stuff like this, it was unheard of. Unheard of. Sexual harassment? What was that growing up? Nowadays, it's like you don't get a promotion. Oh, I was sexually harassed. That's why I didn't get a promotion. You didn't get a promotion. Oh, it's racism.
Well, I know that I'm not the head of this program, and I have to do co-host with you because, you're a white man and you won't let me have top bill. You and my Caucasian wife have decided that I'm not allowed to have
I
top
thought
bill.
you decided to have me on for racial profiling.
Oh, no, I was an equal opportunity hire. I'm equal opportunity hire. I'm here to make y'all legit. I'm a affirmative action hire over here at the Marks podcast. Yeah, I have to meet the brown quota.
I'm a 10%er.
Yeah, you're a 1%er over there.
But I mean, to go back to the wrestling things of it, although when you look at it as a whole, as the whole industry as a whole, 95% of the industry is done right. Sad part is the 5% that's done wrong.
It's a fucking loud ass percent.
Yes.
And we can sit here and complain. It got away from us enjoying
What
watching.
I'm going to say is, what entity isn't like that? Nothing runs at 100% efficient. Nothing.
I would say this show runs pretty damn good for what we have. The fucking shoebox that we run out of, and
I'm just saying the
duct
fact
tape that's holding it together.
All four major sports have their issues, and it just keeps on chugging along.
What kills me is that it's if we could just focus on what goes on between those four corners, with what goes on between those ropes, it is a very compelling fucking thing. Yet we get dragged away from the base of it because
see, now that's the one thing I would disagree is not just the four ropes. The minute you walk into the arena, what goes on when you leave that arena, I could give a shit about. But what you do in the arena, I care a lot about. What you do in your personal life and stuff like that, when you, basically to me, you're on the job when you walk in the door of that arena.
Yeah.
What you go out and do, because like I said to you, many a time they've seen what some of these boys would do to people after the shows and stuff like that at a party. Listen, I remember a time I was down in San Antonio, Texas.
I'm sorry.
And somebody thought he had muscles that night. And he got absolutely destroyed in a bar. Because the Legion of Doom decided to let the Nasty Boys put this certain individual on the shoulders and do their finishing move inside of a bar to their boss. And the next day, everybody thought he was dead because he wasn't answering the doors and nothing like that. He stayed in his hotel room. I mean, he stayed in the production office the whole day. Didn't come out because he was just caught. But And that's a case of where at the building that doesn't go on.
We have another update. Police report have been filed again. Raj Jackson against Raj. No, it says again. So okay, yeah, Keem can't type. Police. This is from Drama Alert. Police reports have been filed against Raj Jackson allegedly. So Raja, what? Raja Jackson.
And like I was saying to you, 3 times he hits this man in the face. Maybe 5. I'll give 5. Maybe that's his receipt 5 times. But
That's
the
a lot.
way I'm saying, but the
20.
way I'm saying the way he went off, and then when people were pulling him off, and the way he acted, if he gets pulled off and leaves the ring, leaves the building, guess what? You know what you're looking at there? A pissed off soul. But because now he becomes belligerent, now it totally shows premeditation. He does not deserve to get away from this scot-free. And the promoter, whoever at that building was in charge of that, deserves never to go to another wrestling match again. Because as the promoter of a wrestling show, it's all in your hands. If a guy goes rogue, you got to know to tell the police, this is not part of the show. Get him freaking out of here.
Look how much. Okay, look how much heat did Travis Scott get in for busting Cody Rhodes' eardrum?
Was it by accident?
He threw a real punch. He hit him, busted. And again, that was an accident, but he got so much shit for it.
But guess what? He's untrained. He's an untrained professional.
Absolutely. Again, and they jumped on Travis Scott. Now, Cody was like, look, it's an accident. It happened. But he was able to walk away from it. Yes, he suffered a busted eardrum. This guy got knocked smooth unconscious and then received, let's just say, between 19 and 20 punches to the face, unconscious.
You know, the only time I see something like that is if you ever seen the movie Good Will Hunting, when he's in the middle of the school ground, he's just wailing away on the guy in the middle of the school ground, Good Will Hunting. That's what it reminded me of.
Hold on. Yes, ma'am.
So, there are quote-unquote missing hands who were defending Roger. And there's video of them telling him to get the receipts from the ring and take care of it there. So he was like, he should explain how to get the receipts, and he didn't. They just told him to get his payback in the ring. He's not an entertainer. He's a fighter. And so he told Jim Cornette discussed it, right? So Jim Cornette's response was, quote, apparently this moron son of Grant, wrong quote, I've blocked you for being so stupid, but instead I'll let the world see it. Giving an unconscious guy brain damage is a receipt. Nobody involved in this fiasco is an entertainer or a pro. And if this lunatic is a fighter, then he knows and should get done with time. Also, fuck.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And so what I would say about that is this, okay? When you look at that.
No, hold on, time out. Before you say that just something just clicked. You're right. Trips the wife. Raja is a trained MMA fighter. No different.
Use of a deadly weapon.
Exactly. Thank you.
Which in California means you're out of jail in 3 hours.
Jesus.
You know, whatever liberal city it was in California where they did this in last night. We all know Kevin Newsom won't hold the guy.
Yeah, he'll be afraid of Rampage coming to beat his ass.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot, like your state of Texas, he'd already be in jail by now. He might be, he'd be in jail cell with a guy about your height and stuff like that. And like, here we go. We're going to put you in this jail cell with this guy for a little while. There's nowhere in it like that. Cornette's right when he says it. Okay. The promoter the promoter is responsible for everything that goes on in the show. If the promoter knew he was going to do that and allowed him to do it, aiding and abetting, the fans or the people who tell him to get his receipt in the ring, they should be charged with it too.
I think you're pushing it a little far with the fans.
No, I'm just saying the fact of anybody that you can see on that video that would any video that you have of him promoting
Any
it,
professional in that building that was egging it on, absolutely. But a fan, they don't know any better.
Anybody who's egging it on, they should be. Guess what? You were getting him to an attack an unarmed man, premeditated.
Well, they wouldn't know it was premeditated. Not everybody knew. But I'm saying you're right in the sense that, yes, some repercussions should be felt. Somebody needs to do something. This is a perfect lesson to be taught to other people who think that you're going to enter and get involved in a business you know nothing about, and you're going to start taking it personal and you're dishing out your own personal receipts. That is disgusting.
Listen, and we can talk about doing the face to where we can say it. WWE, as much as people want to hate to hear this, from the minute you walk into a building to the minute you leave the building, it is 100% dictated what you're doing.
No, but if that's so bad, then why is it from all the time that people went to ECW, went to WCW, was in TNA, and they've transitioned over to WWE, they don't want to leave, and they've said it over and over again because this is how it's supposed to be run.
Do you know how many times I would talk to numerous wrestlers and I asked them what was the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? And you know what they say? It was every one of them was the same answer. I know who my boss is. I know who my boss is. I know who my boss is. So they knew if they did anything stupid, who they'd have to talk to. And today, I guarantee it's the same way. Do you do something stupid? You're talking to Triple H. If you do something that stupid. And if it's something so stupid, you got to go over his head, you're probably talking to Khan. And do you really want to be talking to the main boss because of something stupid? No. Because what's the one thing nowadays that these guys and girls can lose? You're talking a lot of money nowadays. Lots of money. It's like the baseball player who gets suspended for raping a 16-year-old girl because the girl's mother allows it. Okay? I'm sorry, she was 14. And he just signs a $200 million contract. Goodbye, $200 million. Are you really going to put the contracts, your livelihood, your family, and stuff like that on the line for a stupid night of partying to where you want to go rogue? And,
it's to a point now that it's just, there has to be some repercussions for this shit, right?
Yes. People, listen, look at how much the NFL got in trouble with the Ray Rice thing. They basically gave him a slap on the wrist. And P. Diddy, he still hasn't gotten out of jail for almost doing the exact same thing on camera to his girlfriend.
Yep.
So wait, because one was an NFL star, and because the other one only did rap music, let's let the NFL star walk.
So I kind of want to get this one out of the way because I want to pivot, but I want to get this one out of the way because if I don't talk about it now, I'm not going to talk about it later. I know you were celebrating Vince's birthday, but today is also a special day, and it's a sad day for me. I'm going to go ahead and put that picture up, if you don't mind. Today is the anniversary of the passing of Wyndham Rotunda, better known as Bray Wyatt. And you can take it down. What you felt about Hogan when we talked about it? You got viscerally upset. You're emotional, and I'll just show it here. I have a Bray Wyatt tattoo. You can see it. I've had it for years. He's a once in a lifetime kind of person. I won't go into personal stories about interacting with him with a family member. I've done that before other places. It's not about that. But I've never seen anybody with a mind like that who should have, how many times he should have failed and he was able to stick it back to them and say, okay, this gimmick's not going to work. I'll bring back this gimmick. This gimmick doesn't work. I'm going to bring it this way. He turned a character that was basically Mr. Rogers mixed with Freddy Krueger and made it something that people loved. And that was in his mind, and he made it a reality.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dan. Let me ask you one question. If it wasn't for who his father was and uncle, do you think he gets the shot that he got?
I don't, because he wasn't the guy they wanted. He wasn't the build they wanted, and again, it's fine. But the thing about him is, everybody he met, they loved him. Like, you can't find one person who will say one bad thing about the guy. And it's just, he always got over when he wasn't supposed to. You look at his work in the ring, you look at his characters. I mean, go no further, go back to the cult leader Bray Wyatt with a Hawaiian shirt. Who does that remind you of? Mr. Spivey, maybe? Mr. Lives are going to be in Waylon Mercy's hands.
Well,
Know what I mean?
Having worked with his dad, Mike was almost the same way. To where, you ever hear anything bad come up about Mike Rotundo?
Not one thing.
Not one thing. Look at what him and DiBiase were able to do together. Okay? And when you have your family involved. Now, it's sad that Bo don't know where Bo fell into this picture. He had it for about 6 months with the crowd.
Oh, well, hold on. IRS did make one flaw. He made people pay their taxes.
Well, listen, okay?
Well, before you get to Bo, like, I'll get to that in a second. The reason why it bothers me is because it's very rare that I get emotional about a character. It's just, it sucked last year, right? Because it was two.
It's been 2 years.
It's been, oh my gosh, really been that long? Jay Briscoe, brother of Mark Briscoe of the Briscoe brothers, who was in Ring of Honor, by far one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Ring of Honor champions, multiple places, and they killed it in the Indies. And fuck the Young Bucks. If we would have had a Briscoes, there would have never been a need for the fucking Young Bucks. If the Briscoes ever got mainstream television, there would have been no Jay Briscoe, to give you an understanding, and I'll share some videos of him later with you privately. But if you were to take Steve Austin and you mixed him with, if you took what the Young Bucks wannabe, that was Jay Briscoe. Like, he was just a badass, but athletically couldn't be matched. And he passed away around the same time as Bray, and it's always been hard every time I hear about one of their anniversaries coming up, because if you look back, all this negativity we see in wrestling and all this horrible stuff we see going on, those were two guys that nobody said one bad thing about, other than they said that Jay said something homophobic years ago, which he apologized about. Okay, so then they gave him the Hulk Hogan. I guess maybe that's the one thing I think about now. Like, they gave Hulk Hogan this treatment, whatever, but you did it to Jay Briscoe, and he apologized. You know, you got these two guys who were beloved. You're not going to find. They did tributes in AEW for Bray Wyatt. They did tributes in TNA for Bray Wyatt. They did tributes everywhere for Bray Wyatt. They did tributes everywhere for someone like Brody Lee. Brody Lee. And there's all this negativity around, and these were two guys that loved the business, and you know, watching and thinking about the fact that he had passed away, you wasted this talent because you're too busy worried about this guy or that guy. And I promise you, this little fucking manifesto I'm going into is going to lead into something, but you're wasting time with all these pieces of shit, and you think that, oh, this guy who's controversial, let's bring this up. Oh, let's bitch about Brock Lesnar. But you have guys that are legitimately amazing mentally, physically, in any kind of way you could think in the ring, and you waste them. And go ahead.
I'm going to say this because I watched some of Forbidden Door, and the Young Bucks came out the bop. Like, no, they're not coming out to a freaking Hanson song. Okay? But I'm going to go on to, and you know, when you're talking about stuff like that, okay?
Well, what the importance of it, the importance of, I think, to me and you is Bray Wyatt made me fall in love with wrestling again in a way that I didn't since I was a little kid. Just like you being a kid watching Hulk Hogan come out, and you were like, well, like I could see when we talk about Hulk Hogan how you get like you're fucking 13, 14, 15 years old. You're at the Lowell fucking auditorium and you're like, oh my God, it's you as a kid. When I heard that you know this because when we first met, and this is going, we almost know each other a year now. It's been crazy.
Next week.
Next week is a year that you and I have known each other. And thinking about that, right? You wanted to do a Bray Wyatt gimmick for another piece of shit on YouTube. I'm here. Yeah, I remember that, motherfucker. I remember that.
Do you have the clip?
And we laughed about it. Well, that was a thing that made me go, again, because we had really kind of just met. And I'm like, I like this guy. He's something about you, and it was the Bray Wyatt that made me go, wow, this is my friend. This guy's gonna be my friend.
And let me put it like this, okay? While you were talking, a name just pumped into my head. Because of NXT being in Lowell tonight, first time I ever saw it, NXT was in Lowell. And the headline of that night, Patrick Clark. Let's talk about that for a second.
Well, we can talk about that, but I do want to say this. Rest in peace, Wyndham Rotunda. Thank you for everything, all the enjoyment for over 10 years. Being there the night I broke up with that crazy woman on WrestleMania 30 because she ruined the Undertaker match. You were also there. Thank you for just everything you did, Bray. You always be part of my life as an inspiration. But there's another guy who I think has the ability to take the things of a Bray Wyatt, who has the charisma of a Bray Wyatt, who has the charisma of a Jake the Snake, who can carry the stories like Raven, Scott Levy once did. And it seems like maybe it's not a fucking work, and that Karrion Kross or Killer Kross is legitimately gone. And what another fucking waste. He's doing a show for I think Game Changer Wrestling. He's going to be working with GCW, and it looks like it's really over. Like he's really not going back to WWE.
My thing about that is this, okay? And I'm hoping you understand this. Do the crowds of today
matter? Because it doesn't seem like they do.
Understand that kind of ring psychology. Because I'll tell you this right now. Does Jake the Snake go over today? Does this guy go over today? The best. Listen, a ravishing Rick Rude, a Savage, all these guys we grew up watching that were heels. Okay?
Leon might be right about that.
All these guys that we're talking, the heel personas, the heel gimmicks that got put over, that were some of the greatest heels in the business. Do they get over today with today's wrestling?
I don't know. I don't know if they do. But to what Leland said about TKO, that's probably why we were dealing with a Yeet. They're so quick to jump on a Yeet to sell T-shirts rather than jumping on a guy that like legitimately is a badass and has a mind like no one I've ever seen in years.
So my question about Karrion Kross would be this: we're paying him money. What money is he bringing in for us?
Exactly, and I think that's what they think.
That's what we've come to. That's what we've come to. Because if you look at some of the women now. Why is Nikki Bella back? Not for money for her.
Because it's Cena's retirement tour.
Okay. Because she moves merch. A lot of the people that they're selling or they're trying to move merch. Listen, don't get me wrong. Chelsea Green is one of them. Chelsea sells merch. That's why some of these people to is like, why don't they get rid of them? Because they're money makers. Maybe some of them don't make a lot of money, but they make money. So if let's say they're paying.
Please, you said just come in and say it because you're right.
But what I'm saying is the fact of what in my growing up and stuff like that, Karrion Kross had the persona to be a great heel on the mic. My thing is today is between a pretty face or a guy who raids his wife's closet. Somebody like Karrion Kross doesn't connect with the crowd because they'd rather see the guy who raids his wife's closet and
fucking Seth, yeah.
And oh wait a minute, the one who wears the pants in the family.
Well, she does call herself the man.
That's what I'm saying. So you get the man and one who wears his wife's clothes. So you got a cross dresser and a transgender in the same family.
Oh, geez.
I'm just saying it though.
Well, we just got canceled.
No, what I'm saying though, people would rather cheer that on than a guy with the demonic.
It's not even demonic. It's the devil's advocate character. It's okay.
Right.
The closest. Okay, so Raven did it amazingly. Bray was a master at making you think. But they all got it from someone like a Dan Spivey or someone like a fucking. Because again, if you know your history, right? Go back, go watch those Waylon Mercy promos.
Yes.
He would look at you, and he looked like what's his name from Cape Fear.
Yes.
Lives are going to be
Robert De Niro
in Waylon Mercy's hands, and he would look right. He would turn his head, look at that camera, and go, "You know what I mean?"
Like it was like he's saying the scripture like De Niro did in the movie.
Yes.
Right? Lawyer. Counselor. He called him
Counselor. And then again, you look over at someone like a Jake. Trust me.
But here's the thing with Jake. Every promo would be like that. He'd raise his voice for one word. Him talking about the DDT was like Randy Orton talking about the RKO.
No. What he said, and I want to get to Leland. That's a wonderful point. That DDT, what he would always say, the DDT will always be there for me.
Yes.
Am I cruel? Yes, cruel but fair. So what Leland just said, they didn't offer Scarlett a contract. He stuck up for his wife, and it cost him a contract with the big leagues. So again, I'm praying, I'm hoping that it's still a work because they have done business with Game Changer Wrestling, and they've let Natalya go over there, what have you. But if this is it, this man stuck up for his wife, who is absolutely marketable in herself. She can wrestle. She's smart. She's beautiful. She fucking is no different than someone like Lana. And I would argue that she might be better than Lana. And you had Lana around for fucking all this time, wanting to make her to the next Sable.
Like we just brought up a little while ago. Has the women division passed her by though, to where it's like, okay, your wife and you. Unfortunately, your wife right now can't keep up with what we got over here.
But Nikki Bella can.
Oh, I'm just saying the name wise and stuff like that. I'm saying her name is off. Listen,
How much is she paying you? And is there a Fearless shirt under that Hot Rod shirt? Because you're full of shit.
No, I'm just saying. No, listen, I can't stand it when she comes down and does her little hooker dance. Can't stand it. Okay. Listen.
You can look, but you can't.
Correct. Okay. Listen. She should be having dollar bills thrown at her if you got to say that and do that and stuff like that.
Well, that's why I can't stand
the sad part is, she's not even the better wrestler in her family.
No. Bree Mode is.
And she claims the only reason why she ain't back is because out of loyalty to her husband.
And again, that's another stand by your man kind of woman.
But I'm just saying the fact of
how is it they're twins and I find her more attractive than her sister?
Because one's plastic, one's not.
Fair.
It's just like, I can't stand looking at any of the Kardashians. But
that's what it is. Look, Leland.
Well, but what I'm saying is the fact of what product are they selling? And I'll tell you what product they're selling. today. And unfortunately, if you notice anything about WWE lately, it's all about going forward, not about going backwards, even though, like I said, the people like the Nikki Bellas and stuff like that, is there an end game to it? I think so. Natalia, I think her end game is coming up.
Again, like it's been discussed before, and we've been talking about it for weeks now. Natalia as this low-key legend with the fucking mouth guard and that fucking I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm the last daughter of the dungeon, and she should call herself that, the daughter of the dungeon daughter, or whatever.
Dungeon Survivor.
Again, man or woman, she's a badass, and she's capable of it. She's proven that. It's not like a something I'm speculating against. Watch her work and GCW.
Because you bring it up, I got to tell you. So at Forbidden Door today,
your favorite finally came back. I didn't see that.
Arthur Hart, OJ, whatever the son, and Tony Khan come out to announce that the O2 show today was the highest attended wrestling show in the O2 history. Okay, I'm like, so you flew in Martha Hart. You flew in the sun just to announce it was the highest attended wrestling.
And I think they do that because he wants the heart pop. He wants those fans that are jaded like me and you to come back. But I look, and I'm going to say there's a direct message to Tony Khan. I don't dislike you. I don't like your business practice as far as like not putting people on TV. I don't like what you've done to Danhausen. I don't like what you've done to a lot of guys that apparently they don't follow your lines. So you don't put them on television. You have every right to do it because you get them to sign these multi-million-dollar contracts or whatever. You don't put them on television, but you'll let them go to other places. It's ridiculous.
Well, Dan, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about somebody who now has more belts than she weighs.
I don't want to talk about her. We don't remiss my ass. I don't want to talk about her.
9 belts? The 9 belts combined weigh more than she does.
And not one of them fits her fucking pants.
No. Which, if you sit there and tell me that she does not call her own strings, you're lying. It's all, she honestly believes she is the titles. That's what she honestly believes. Correct. There's so, and listen, the Tony Storm and Athena match was actually pretty good, but
I didn't see who won.
Tony.
Damn it!
But I'm just saying is the fact though.
I love Tony Storm, but I really was hoping for Athena.
You have 9 belts on one woman because you're trying to make her like believe. You're trying to get people to believe that she's the best wrestler in the world. Blah,
if
blah,
you
blah.
had the soundboard working, I would want you to put that Amberlynn. No one cares.
Right. And I'm saying too is the women coming through WWE
I'll blow the socks off of her.
Whatever she claimed she was doing in the performance NXT. So
her and Naomi left at the same time. Naomi is more of a star than Mercedes will ever be, in my opinion.
Yes.
Stephanie Vicaire, in ring, physically, whatever it is, amazing. Love her. Want her to fucking be a multi-time champion. Charlotte Flair, still better than her, no matter what other people
Roxanne
think.
Perez is better than her.
Roxanne Perez is another one. That's 3 so far. Alexa Bliss established that she was well and way better than Mercedes has been. Let's go down to NXT. Fucking Sol Ruka, Zarya, Lash Legend, who you seem to be a fan of.
Julia there.
I love Julia, and Julia is the shit. They again put that up, please, dare put that up.
I see it. Next woman would have Mercedes spinning in circles. Because here's the thing.
Even Bird Girl would be killing it.
What's the one thing all these women have in common that Mercedes Moné has forgot?
Charisma, talent, integrity,
knowing how to work. Well,
I don't know her as a human being, so I'm not judging her character. But I'm sorry, she's the only thing I enjoyed was her run with Tony because it was actually funny. I love what Tony said at that press conference. Whether anybody likes it or not, you smelled and taste delicious. Both, whatever she said about both lips or whatever. I thought that That was fucking hilarious.
I'm saying the fact of when she did her walkout, that really showed what kind of woman she was. She was never in the business for the business. She wasn't in the business because, oh, I'm such a big wrestling fan. I want to be. No. Woman, you sold yourself out for the money. The second time you said that. You don't need to
I will say this. I think I have finally brought the wife over to the side of liking Toni Storm.
I never disliked her.
But you know what the sad part is, though? She came out tonight in whiteface.
What?
She came out in whiteface.
What?
She had white. She painted her face white.
She did a sting?
Not without the black, but she came out in whiteface. I'm like, why does a woman who's white come out in whiteface?
Wait, what is she? What was the point?
I don't know. I'm just saying. She was whiter than normal.
Gerard.
What? I'm just telling you. It's like she had a fight with baby powder and the baby powder won.
She's just trying to get us canceled, aren't you?
No, I'm just telling you. But when you look at the amount of talent going through the system right now, and then to still call yourself the best in the world, listen, you're the best at manipulating yourself. Nobody else, everybody else knows the way the game's supposed to be changed. Everybody else knows the name of the game.
She's not even the best. She's not even the best in her own company.
I'm saying everybody else knows. She still believes that she is a 9-time champion. When and the sad part is, let's go back to Brett. Brett was also a believer in me. He also was a believer in him being the champion.
But she backed it up. He backed it up.
No, you're only a champion for the fans. Now,
here's the difference. Brett was a champion that had the respect of the fans and the boys in the back, as well as the journalists and everybody in between love Brett. Mercedes.
I know.
I'm not gonna. Huh?
Brett didn't need the title for that, though.
No, he made the belt. The belt didn't make him. Now, that being said, I'm not gonna see her. I don't know how they feel about her in the back. I don't know who fucking her friends are. I don't care. But I know for a fact that fans, for a majority, can't stand her. And isn't that the reason that everybody's in the fucking business? To entertain the fans, to put on the best matches possible, to come across as larger than life? She doesn't do that.
Didn't we used to hear somebody say, who gives a shit about the fans? The fans will just suck in what I put out there?
Yeah, that was Vince Russo.
Let me guess. And didn't some guy who came into the business say, I can't live by that philosophy? And in 5 years, he went from living that philosophy to that's the philosophy he goes with by because, he thinks he knows more than all the fans do. And everything's great. Everything's wonderful. We're doing the bless. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm just going to shove this.
Who was that?
Huh?
Who was that?
Oh, I know. Wait, he does it with his football team too. Because his football team sucks just as much as his wrestling company does.
No, it wasn't Leland. I know exactly who it was.
Like I just said, his football team sucks just as much as his wrestling company does. Because
well, that could be both of them because remember, the XFL was a thing.
Football company. His football team. I'm sorry, his football team, not his football company. Football team.
Like, again, I'm not the biggest Tony Khan guy, but it's just AEW is for a niche audience. It just breaks my heart because there's a lot of guys over there, a lot of guys and gals who deserve better. Namely, someone like a Britt Baker, maybe someone like a Danhausen, maybe some of these guys that deserve to be on. Like,
when she debuts in WWE, does the roof blow off the building?
Britt Baker?
DMD.
Oh, 100%. You're going to hear DMD, DMD, DMD.
Just like CEO.
Do it again.
CEO.
But I look at someone like Chris Statlander. Oh my God. Amazing. Someone
Jamie
like a thing.
comes back.
Jamie Hayter. What a monster. Megan Bain has gotten over and away. Oh, I told you about Megan Bain a year ago.
That's a big woman. You know, it's just you just look at it like you said. If you want to have, banger after banger after banger after banger after banger after banger after banger,
I will not allow you to bang her after bang her after bang her.
Oh yeah, what happened to Camille? Oh, I tell you what happened. She was making Mercedes look small.
Yes.
That's exactly
what
what happened. She was making Mercedes.
Look, Leland, there are very few times I fucking agree with Gerard. There are very few times I will ever agree with Gerard. Yes, Camille made her look small.
In more sense than one. And you know, when your body
God forbid someone gets over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of somebody, again, to prove the point, a guy that has been nowhere, MIA, hasn't been seen. Finally, I saw the clip. He showed up tonight. Your boy, the Powerbomb Symphony himself, Wardlow, returned after how long?
Yeah, as a heel. But before we go, we got to bring up one more point before we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Break the walls down. Yes or no?
No.
You don't think he comes back?
I want him to be done. I want him to be done. Look, he had a good run. Whatever it is, they're getting on to him over.
American Gladiator in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, there it goes. That's it, Leland. He was out doing that. Yep, that's what it was.
Jericho back, and he goes against 3 guys. LA Knight.
Oh, God, no, he's coming back. I know why he's coming back. You know why? I know why he's coming back.
Hold on. Grayson Waller.
No.
Or Dominic Mysterio.
No. He's coming back this year for one reason.
You just made the list. Oh, John Cena.
Yep.
Motherfucker. And he'll bring back the Festival of Friendship.
You just made the list.
Why am I on this list? That was probably please, we got 2 minutes. Please tell them how emotional you got over the Festival of Friendship.
Was it like the This Is Your Life segment with The Rock?
Oh, God, no, just it broke her heart because I'm a Kevin Owens-Steen fan and she liked Jericho at the time, but go ahead.
It was so sad. Like Jericho sold that so well where he just read it and he looked up and he was like,
why is my name on this?
But it was a new list. He was so excited. He goes, what? And then Kevin took him back. It was the worst Festival of Friendship ever. It was so sad.
Oh my God. Put it this way. Between the Festival of Friendship or
Leland, you shut your whore mouth. I can live with Jericho getting a piss beat out of him. I can't live with no.
No, I was gonna say is the Festival of Friendship or the This Is Your Life segment.
The Festival of Friendship.
Oh,
Did you not see that picture of like the reincarnation of man and Jesus or man and God, where there was a picture of Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho? Hold on, before we go, we're gonna post that picture. I would buy that and put it in this room if it was possible. I would take the image of Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho touching like man meeting God, and I would post it on the wall in here. And go, fuck that. We'll take down the sticky stuff over there. We'll put that on the wall. There it is. Oh, God, she found it. She fucking found it.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're about to watch it. Before we go, we'll end with that. You put it up on there and we'll just cut us out. Now put that up.
Right.
And then let them watch it for a second. No, because I will get hit for that. But put that picture up. Let them enjoy it for a moment. And then we'll cut that pot out. Cut that pot out.
So my best Rodney Dangerfield. Hey, Smills, let's go when we're young.
Hey,
She's gonna kick your ass.
By the way, memories like the calling of my mind. Oh,
That being said, I am Dan. This is Gerard. Thank you guys for joining us on another Sunday edition of the Marks Podcast. Next week we will be watching. Leland got you too. We're going to be watching Clash in the Castle, and we may have a special guest, a friend of mine who also a huge wrestling fan. He's also known in the gaming space. I'm not going to spoil it unless he comes in next week. But Gerard's going to be here. He's going to sneak away on vacation and come in.
I'm going to leave my house this one.
That being said, you guys are awesome. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week.
All of you Marks have been listening to the Marks Podcast on YouTube.